was me like,
Oh.
hi, everybody. Look, I've got a surprise for you today. This is Kenny Biddle. Like, oh,
Hi.
Big mistake, leaving the audio on the other channel that pops up. So this is my first live interview, and I'm so excited because Kenny Biddle decided he would be with me today to do this do this live stream. And Kenny, we've known each other for a long time.
We have.
You are one of the few paranormal researchers out there, even though we don't have to use the word paranormal. You could research all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And you have.
I do.
But you're like an expert in this, and there's very few people who do this. And tell us a little bit more about yourself. You're recently there as a chief investigator at Center for Inquiry.
Yes. So yeah, basically I work for the division called Committee for Skeptical Inquirer. So I'm officially under CSI, which also puts on SciCon and publishes Skeptical Inquirer magazine. And yeah, I'm the chief investigator, which most of the stuff that I'm going to deal with has to do with like fringe topics, paranormal topics, ghost hauntings, UFO sightings, monsters, and any kind of magical woo-woo kind of stuff like that. But I'm not limited to that. I can do other things like homeopathy and even facilitated communication. I still want to do something on that, get into that, maybe sneak into a class and, get trained and see how that goes. So there's a lot I can do. Plus, I do a lot of more projects around the office because I am in Buffalo, New York, in Amherst, where the CFI headquarters is. And I have taken over a lot of the space here. There's display cases out in the lobby. You've been here, right?
Yeah, but not since you've been there.
Yeah, there's display cases outside my door. So
they were empty.
And they were empty. They were completely empty. And I had heard people were upset because there's nothing. It's like display cases, but they're empty. There's nothing to look at because we have events here almost at least once a week.
They were filled with homeopathy.
Yes, they were homeopathic
and ghosts.
Artifacts.
Homeopathic ghosts.
Yes. So I started taking over, and everyone here just encouraged it. And I mean, we even got more display cases. We took some display cases from the old section of the building that's not used, brought them up here. We got another, wait till you get here again. There's a huge 10-foot long one that we just got, picked it up from a church. So, and it's got like things from alleged exorcisms and stuff in it now. So it's a very cool backstory when you tell people that. So I take part in a lot of things, outreach. I'm encouraging more authors to come and write for Skeptical Inquirer and to do videos, getting speakers for SciCon. So I love this job. I love being involved with everything and everyone that's here. And also I'm proud to say that I've started the official Nerf wars that go on in this office.
I think you did. Yes.
Yes. So we had a major one today, but everyone survived. So it's all good. So that's a little bit about me.
So you have your own channel.
I do. So I have the show called The Skeptical Help Bar, which is now sponsored by Skeptical Inquirer. And every Friday night I go live for 2 hours, and I sometimes have a guest, which
I've been there.
Yes, you've been on.
We went for 3 hours.
Yes, because you wouldn't stop talking. I'm kidding.
I'm in California too, so I don't have that time. It works to my advantage here.
Right. But yeah, I have a guest on sometimes, and I like to have the overall bar theme, like the ambiance of your local bar. When you come in there, we just have a casual conversation. I don't usually have questions written out beforehand. I just see where the conversation goes, and then the second part of the show is for viewers. They can ask questions. And my wife, Donna, she sits on the side right off camera, and she feeds me questions from the audience, and we talk about it. And then we also have open mic night when I don't have a guest.
Does that mean their name has to be Mike?
No. Although that would be funny. We do have a mic, I think.
Only Mike's invited.
Yeah. but that's pretty much me, and it's for the audience just to come on and they can ask questions via chat, or I put the link to join the show in the chat room so anyone can pop in and discuss something more in depth.
Right.
So it's fun. It's fun.
It
and
is. It is
relaxing.
fun. It's casual, because
Yeah.
they think us skeptics are really these awful people. And,
I know.
I think we're friendly.
I think we are.
You have
I
a
mean,
dog that loves you.
I know.
And I have
Lemmy.
3 cats that sometimes love me. I mean, it's not like we're bad people or anything.
No, and you know what? That's an interesting topic, because I come across this a lot where I'm prejudged about this mean guy. I'm mean, I'm nasty, I'm just a evil skeptic because all I want to do is just debunk everything
We're in
and
everybody's day.
show everyone that they're stupid or whatever. And it's simply not the case. And I think
Completely the opposite.
for people like you and I, we're just completely honest. We're
Mhm.
blunt with what we say. And as other people are free to say, hey, I believe in this. I believe in a God. I believe in ghosts. I believe in fairies, whatever. You can believe in whatever you want. And they're proud to say it out in public. Likewise, we're the same way. We can say we don't believe and we don't think they exist in public. And that's where people see us as
Right.
like, you're evil. You shouldn't be saying that. You should be respectful. Meaning you shouldn't say anything that disagrees with what I believe in. Keep it to yourself.
I don't get
that's
that.
what I get.
Yeah, I started this channel just a little 6 weeks ago or something like that. And it's, oh my gosh, the views I've had are incredible. I mean, it gets to this point where you have to have 4,000 watch hours in a year. I'm there. So
Good.
I'm at like 3,800 and something watch hours. It's ridiculous. So I think that there are people who are finding my videos are actually interested in this world of breaking down paranormal in the psychic world. I'm focusing mainly on the psychics, but I think a lot of the people who are watching my channel, hi people who are watching the channel, I appreciate you're here. I think most of the people who are watching are not skeptics. I think a lot of them have never been challenged before with this idea that there is debunking of videos or debunking of, or if we don't want to say debunking, but explaining videos or audio of psychic readings. Some of the comments I'm getting are, it is obvious they are not, have been challenged before. It's really interesting because I think it's a channel that's starting to attract people who never would have found your work or my normal work when I write for Skeptical Inquirer. It's the people who are watching. I've got a lot of people from the Philippines who are watching. That's my biggest subscriber as far as, or biggest watcher outside of the United States. So mahal kita, everybody out there.
Wow.
I don't know why the viewership is, a lot of them are Filipinos, but I have a feeling that Seatbelt Psychic and some of these other shows are showing in the Philippines right now, like they're running on TV.
Right.
Syndicated now or something, who knows? And the people are going, oh, wow, what is the Seatbelt Psychic with Thomas John? This is amazing, because it does look amazing if you don't really pay attention to what's going on. And they're going to YouTube to find the longer form videos. I know he's big on TikTok right now. And it's a whole environment of people. Almost all of my viewers are women. And they're all under 35. Almost all of them are under 35. So hello, female under 35 people out there. A lot that are 18 to 24. I don't think they've really seen this before. I don't think they've ever, they're like, this is new. Oh my gosh. and it's like, you and I have lived in this world for a long time, right?
Yes.
It's like, no, none of this is new. And the questions they're asking or the things or statements they're making are really interesting. I don't know. I just think that, like, you're on TikTok. You have a channel on TikTok, right? What's it called?
It's Kenny Biddle CSI. Now, if you look that up, you'll find me.
Right. Okay. That's it. I've got a Psychics Explained TikTok. It's only got a few videos on it. I don't know. It's like, I need somebody to, you do these, you're good at getting this turned out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like work.
It's, what? It's fun. I have this board over here that you can see. That's my schedule that I try to keep to. And Tuesday is TikTok Tuesday. And I sit here, I come in the morning, I get on and I start looking at the videos that are just uploaded or fresh. And I'm like, oh, all right, well, they're saying this place is haunted, or this was a sighting, or this poltergeist is in there. And if it's the general stuff, I kind of ignore it, because it's like repetitive. There are so many channels that do the same shit. I'm sorry, stuff.
But you can say shit on my channel.
that I ignore most of it. But sometimes I come across something new and I'm like, I don't know how they did that. Let me think about this for a couple minutes. And I think, and then I go out into the hallway and I start trying out things. And it's great because like even the staff here, they know what's going on. They see me just.
Oh God, here comes Kenny Biddle.
They're like, oh crap. But actually it's even better because they'll be like, well, what are you doing? Can I help? Can I do something? Like Eric, who's our outreach guy, he's on the other side of this wall, and Nicole Scott, who's down the hall a little bit. They are my best volunteers because I will pop in like Nicole's office and go, hey, I need you to do something and it's going to sound weird. And she's like, I'm in. And then even with Eric, I'll just, because when our doors are open, because our doors are open most of the time, I'll just yell like, hey, can you help me with a video? He's like, oh yeah, what do you want me to do? And his head will pop in like, what can I do? What can I do? What's up? So we spend the whole day and just go through and recreate these videos and put them up there and show people. Not only like, I don't just like showing a recreation. I have another camera that's on the side taking a wide view and showing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to see the whole behind the scenes thing.
I love that. I absolutely adore it. Now, this is what I want to talk to you about is investigations. Sure. You and I, like I said, we've got a long history of all kinds of things, and we could talk for probably 15 hours on this. Yeah. And if people want to hang out, I mean, I'm good until a while, but I really want to, you've been involved in several of different things. One of them you were involved in was Operation Peach Pit. And we will talk about that again on another day. So anybody who's out there who's watching this right now, please subscribe to at least to my channel. You can check out Kenny too as well, but subscribe to my channel, hit the little bing so you know when we're live or when we're doing I've uploaded a video, because you're not going to want to miss this discussion that I'm going to have with Kenny and his wife, and probably one or two other people who were involved in the investigation we did of Matt Frazier. And this is the article, this is the investigation that was the second half of the New York Times article that hit the magazine. It was a huge deal. Right. And it is called Operation Peach Pit. And I will be talking with them in more depth because Kenny and his wife and several of his friends were the people we sent in to do the investigation. And they had a unique experience that, Kenny's written about it, but I really want to go in depth about it. But what I really want to do now, I've been having some conversations with different people who are mediums and people who are not quite aware of what skeptics do. And, that word has a connotation that some people don't like. I'm happy with it. But you are one of those investigators that does it to investigate the heck out of it, and one of the few people. And there's a handful of people who do this well, and you are one of them. And you're also a really terrific writer, and you pick unusual topics that I hadn't heard of before. And the way you investigate it is terrific. I mean, you follow a lead, and then I'm like, okay, I'm satisfied. And then you follow the lead further. And then I'm like, oh, he went and did that. And then you follow the lead even further. I mean, there's no way. I mean, you could take what you've done into a court and there would be no problem. The judge would just go, really? Oh, come on now. This is obviously, I don't have any work to do. This is all done. Whoever it is who was taking you to court or whatever would just be laughed out of court because of the information that you supply is so detailed. And one of the things, and I don't think that people are used to that.
No. And
also, like this one medium I'm talking to, she's like trying to give us the best evidence of what a psychic detective does, or psychics solve these cases or helped solve these cases. She gives us the link, and then I start going through it and looking it up. And she's like, well, what are you doing looking at all Why are
How
you
dare
challenging
you?
this article? It's an article. It's got to be factual. It's like, her equivalent is it's on the internet, so it must be real.
You,
I don't get why would
touched
somebody not challenge something?
you touched on it, and you're saying it right there. We're interacting with people that are not used to being challenged. They're used to having their word taken at their word, and that's it. Go no further. I
Right.
said so, therefore it's true. Why are you questioning me? And I mean, from my perspective, I have, it's not a unique perspective, I don't think, but I was a ghost hunter. I was in that world where I believed all that stuff. I thought psychics were real. I believed, little specks of dust were ghosts floating on photographs and video. I was there and realized through my own origin story, which you can find out there
Yeah, very
in
interesting.
other interviews, that I was wrong and how wrong I was and how I covered up how I was wrong. Like when I knew I was wrong, I ignored that and just kept going. And I had that same sense of, why are you questioning me? I just told you this is real.
Are you calling
And
me a liar?
yeah, right. I mean, that's what it is. That's what people feel. And I think, especially with this person that you've been dealing with, because I've been involved with that,
Mhm.
they feel like you're saying, well, they're lying, or they don't. Honestly, I think it's borderline temper tantrum, because they're not used to being challenged, and now they're having an episode. They're having a fit because you asked for something. We asked for good evidence. They gave us a to be honest, a shitty link to an article that was really bad. And when we questioned it, when we started looking, especially you went all Energizer Bunny on the article. 21
I only did
cases.
12. I only did 12 of the
Yeah,
20.
but that's it. Like within the next morning, I woke up. I'm like, holy crap! She went through half the
I didn't
list.
do the detail that you would have done, but it was pretty obvious. And I mean,
No, I mean you did good. You did.
it was
Really good.
obvious that where we were. And then once this article says, okay, the article comes out, it's Reader's Digest. It comes out with 21 cases of psychics helping solve crimes. Right. That's basically what it was. Mostly murder victims or whatever.
Murders
Yeah.
and missing.
And then several of them, you would read it and you go, okay, this is obviously wrong. This person's lying because of all these other things. You don't say the word lying, but you just say, well, here's the evidence. And they've been caught doing this and they've been caught doing that. Like the one who was trying to bribe the police officers. Please tell them that I really was involved, And so this next case, you look at it, it's the same psychic. So I'm like, well, we don't have to look at this because they're already fraudulent. They're already obvious. So let's just skip to the other. So I didn't really do well. I did like 7.
And that's I mean, that's what I would do. Once you found evidence that they tried to bribe their way into a story that they were not involved with, that try to take credit, you're done. Your credibility is shot.
So why should we take your word for anything you say? We're done. Yeah. So I really want to talk to you about this one thing because, oh my gosh, you've got a lot of different articles that you've come up with. And this one right here is just one of many that you've done, but this is your most recent. And I'm going to put this in the YouTube link real quick so people can look at this. And you should definitely subscribe to all the stuff that Kenny does. But I'm going to screen share this no, I better put it over here. Yeah. I try to use Edge when I'm doing screen sharing because we've caught Thomas John, Seatbelt Psychic. I caught him on one of my team members caught him on he was doing a webinar that was almost nobody's going to watch, right? It was a webinar, but what he did is he showed his computer screen. Like you could see where he was Googling things and you could see what was on his computer screen. And we could even see his inbox with all the complaints people are giving him. And I have all that in other articles. But my point is, I don't want to share my computer screen.
Right.
And you can see all my tabs that are open and all that because I don't really want to have to deal with that. So
because I get that way too. Like when I'm watching a video of like some investigation that has issues and stuff, even if it's like one of those cut scenes that's a split second. And actually, I mean, that worked because I was investigating a case by my buddy Zach Baggins,
Oh, Zach, he
and it's
loves
not
you.
Haunted Museum, but he did a documentary, and his cutscenes were documents from that case, so they were only on screen for a second maybe, and I loaded the entire documentary into my editing software so I could go frame by frame to get it, and I pieced together documents from that showed that he was faking stuff or embellishing, and it was just, that's the amount of detail that goes into it, and you don't realize like that's hours and hours of your
Oh
day,
yeah.
getting into that, going frame by frame and just watching hours and hours of someone's videos, because that's how dedicated we are. I mean, that's what's
Right,
necessary
absolutely.
to
I have a team
stop.
that has done this for me.
I know.
Thankfully, I have a team and they do a lot of the research and I just do a lot of the taking credit for it because they don't want anybody to know who they are. And
well, that's good. That's good.
that's fine because it keeps them
Yeah.
protected and so on. But
Right.
they release a lot of this information and then I go back and I have to verify it. But that's how we found Thomas John's computer screen. When I went back to the video to actually create a video that showed him talking about it, then the half a second that it was on the screen, and then the video of him talking about it, I wanted a clip to show this was in there. And I'm like, my gosh, my team member found that thing. That was like a second. Oh, it was incredible. Anyway, so going back, oh, you and I are going to be awful. We're going to be talking and I can see that already. So this is the article that I want to talk about right now, because this really explains. It says it's loading.
Okay.
There it goes. Okay.
I see it.
Okay. So this is an article. So you write for Skeptical Inquirer. I also write for Skeptical Inquirer magazine. We do a lot of things online, and the articles come out usually online. Sometimes they're in print, but print just takes months to get done. And there's a restriction as far as size. And so I tend to have my content published online, as a lot of yours do. So your column is called A Closer Look.
Yes.
You're probably a lot way in there, but this is interesting because I don't have any clue before I read it of what this was about. And I was like, what the heck is this? And every time, like I said, you start reading it and then you go, wait a minute, he went there. Oh my gosh. And he went there and then he went more. Okay. So let's talk about this, because I think this is a good example of how you in particular and some other researchers do this kind of research, because you're not just taking, okay, so here's the claim made and you find this odd claim and you probably do some kind of Googling or something to see if it's already been covered, because, there's been people in the past that have done some obscure topics, but this was a fairly recent one, right?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how you found it.
So I kind of stumbled upon it. My social media feeds, well, like Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that, I subscribe to all kinds of people and teams, because I want to see not only what other skeptics are doing and the science community is doing, but I also want to see what ghost hunters and Bigfoot hunters and UFO hunters are doing. So I follow their pages, and that includes psychics and whatnot. So in my feed at random, it's not even somebody that I knew, but a post popped up, and it was that missing person meme that was up there. It was a generic frame, I guess, because the kid's face is.
Oh, I thought you had done that.
No, I didn't do that.
Scratch out the child's face.
That's not the actual child that was missing. That's
just
that's
a generic child.
Yeah.
I missed that.
But I read it, and it was a testimonial about how this psychic came from out of state and helped look for a missing teenager. I think a grandmother or granddaughter. And then the team was found half a block away from where the psychic said that she was, and that by the time the psychic left, she had the entire police department believing her. Everything that she was saying.
That's what the psychic said.
That's what this testimonial said.
The testimonial.
Promoted by somebody that was not the psychic, but later I found out they were partners, and they do this like appearance marketing or PR kind of thing. They're like an entertainment small company that goes out to different conferences, paid to go out to conferences and do readings. So they market themselves. And I guess this was a promotional post for the psychic, and showing like, oh, look, she solves missing persons cases. And it was funny because when I went to her website, this was the only one on her page. Like there wasn't like a bunch of missing persons, which, you know, if I had that power personally, if I had the power to find missing persons, that would be my life's work. But
Well, yeah, you would think that they would be doing this. You would spend enormous amount of time at the police office.
Right.
If they could do this, Kenny, be honest with me. They wouldn't be working they wouldn't be doing a TV show and or hosting an event for 15 people or 500 people even. They would
not be doing a staged TV show. They would not be working a booth at a paranormal conference.
No, they would be. The military would have had taken the possession of them, and they'd be hidden away somewhere. I mean, come on, let's get real. People are constantly asking me, well, which is the real psychics? And you're like, I mean, really? Come on now, think about that. Really? No.
It's sad. It's sad, and it really, like, you're probably going to see me start getting angry as we talk about this more, because it's one thing to exploit people, but it really bothers me when you start using a child's case to make yourself look better.
Absolutely.
So I get pretty worked up when we start talking about stuff like that.
Absolutely. And I'm constantly getting comments from people saying, they're helping people, and why are you picking on them? You're just so mean. The phrase I've been hearing lately is, I'm salty.
You're salty. Well,
I'm like, okay, is that a phrase? I don't know.
Take a big lick, bitches. It's just going to get saltier from here. And if you don't like it, you know, that's your problem, not ours.
My gosh. Okay, so go back to your thing, because we'll keep derailing, and I'm going to trying to hold us to this.
So, all right. So I saw this post, and I commented because I was curious. And, you know, I see things like this, and I'm like, you know, what about, I asked for information, said, you know, there's no details in this. It just says like the state of Oklahoma, which is that's a lot of area, you know, and there's no names, there's no dates, there's nothing here. What can you give me so I can try and verify this claim, like this actually took place?
And she immediately gave you the name and all that information, didn't she, Kenny?
Oh, well, I would love to say so, but no, that's not the way it happens. And it never happens that way. It really doesn't. The responses I got were, they posted an article. They also told me absolutely no, they're not giving you information or me information because of privacy laws, which I'm still not sure what they were talking about, because I mean, I've seen missing person cases covered in the news where they tell you the kid's name, or they tell you what the police department was investigating. They tell you information about the case. But I just wanted something, but they refused. They flat out refused. But they did post an article, which, strangely enough, had the date and the county, the police department. I mean, a lot of information that had to do with the case, which I don't understand why they couldn't do it. But
they didn't expect you to actually go that far in depth, and they probably weren't used to being challenged.
Right.
And so this was a real missing child at one point.
Yes. So it was a real.
She didn't just make it up. But how are you supposed to know the difference if there is no detail? Right. Like if they hadn't posted a link to this, I mean, they could just have said, hey, I solve crimes all the time, but they're all underage minors, so we can't talk about it. And I'm not going to tell you any details. I mean,
I see that a lot when I go to psychic fairs, because there were psychic fairs back in the Philadelphia area where I was from. And now I'm up in Buffalo, New York, and I've already been to one here, and I'm going to another one this weekend. But I see signs up all the time saying worked on missing person, worked on murder cases. But when you ask, they give you no details, none.
What kind of phrases do they say, or how do they wiggle out of that? I mean, unless it's a
basically
minor.
they don't want to talk about it. It was a minor, so they don't want to give you details because the family doesn't want to be known. So there's a lots of reasons given, and I mean, I can understand if a family does want to, stay out of the media. I get it. That's cool. But all of them, like everyone, how did you hear about it? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Because once they're a missing child and it hits the media, it's in the media. So
once it hits the media,
unless they're only being consulted by people whose children are missing, who
perhaps
don't ever. In other words, the child is missing. I'm going to go to my psychic. I'm not going to report it to the police or ask for a nationwide or even a citywide. Here, everybody help me find my child. Here's what she looks like, and
which is the absolutely wrong thing to do.
Yeah, it's like, let's just go to our psychic, unless my psychic is the one abducting children.
That I think I think Radford investigated a case like that. I'm not sure. I remember something like that coming up. Anyway. So yeah, I asked for information. I was refused, except for the article. And from the article, a quick read, because it wasn't like an in-depth, like prize-winning piece. It was a basic like local news kind of thing. But it did give me enough information to go on. So I had commented, said, all right, I get it. I don't understand why you refuse information. It's all in the article. Exactly what I said. I screen capped. I screen cap everything.
Me too. And I don't think they realize.
No, they don't.
Conversations, videos. I do not assume it's going to be there later for me. It's right. Get it now.
So I mentioned that I was like, all right, well, now that I know the police department, I'm going to reach out, contact them, and find out, what went on. And that got the psychic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the psychic commented like, "What business is it of yours?" Like that was her comment. And I was like, well, this is, this extraordinary claims like this are my business, literally. Right. So I don't know what you had to hide, because it's obvious that you were offended by this, or you're getting defensive now. So now I'm more interested in what's going on. So that's what I did. I reached out to the police department. I gave them the information that I had, told them where I was from, what I was doing. And they put me into contact with the detective that worked the case. And he reached back to me and said, "Hey, I'm busy right now, but I'll call you tomorrow morning." So I spoke to him on the phone, and I went through the article. I went through the claims, and he answered my questions. He was a very nice gentleman. He was really cool. And I mean, he's so nice. He didn't want to, he actually said, "I don't want to talk bad about anyone. I just hear the facts," and I asked him questions about how much did she help? And she didn't help at all. She was there, but any information that she provided, they already knew. There was no new information whatsoever. Second, she made claims that didn't turn out to be true. Like the health of the young lady that was missing, that she was hurt, that she was bleeding.
Oh, yeah, that would scare the family.
Yeah, yeah.
You said that in the article. If you've consulted a psychic, because you really do believe. Wait, they consulted the psychic, or did the psychic throw themselves into the investigation? Which was it?
Two. They threw themselves into it. So
the family did not consult a psychic. So the psychic saw the story and said, "I'm getting a feeling," or whatever, and I'm going to.
So the family, the grandmother of the family, I guess, knew the psychic's daughter and reached out via that way. And the psychic said, "Oh, well, I'll come out." And she came out and inserted herself into the case. Okay. And it sounds like she tried to give information or tried to give predictions, but they didn't want anything. I mean, one of the things she said was, "I feel that she's by water, by the lake." That's what she said. She was by the lake. And when I said that to the detective, well, the detective's like, "We're a lake town, so everything's by the lake." That didn't help us at all. I mean, and when you look on the map, the town is literally on the lake, and everything around it is just there. So, and I mean, when I hear by water or by the lake or something like that, it's to me it's
By a
silly.
big rock.
Yeah, it's a silly thing. Like, oh, they're by trees. Okay, I mean,
There's a number 6 somewhere.
yes, this is all information that it can only be relevant if you retrofit it later, and it doesn't help anything. It's a completely useless superpower if it was real.
Waste of time.
Yeah, it doesn't help
Wasting
solve the
police
case.
and worrying the family, because by saying
Yeah.
she's by a body of water, doesn't that say she's dead?
Well, she never said she was dead.
Well,
but
what
she
does it
did
mean?
say-
She's out having a picnic at
Yeah, she's
the
by
lake.
the water.
She's
By the
tied
lake,
up. What is she on a
and
boat? What is she saying?
So we don't know.
Can she say?
And when she said that that she was hurt and that she saw blood. I mean, if I heard that and I
I'd be
believe
freaked
psychics are
out.
real, yeah, I'd be freaking out. Like, oh, like holy crap, my granddaughter or my daughter is dead or dying. She's injured and she needs help now. We got to find her. But no, she wasn't hurt. She wasn't bleeding. She wasn't hurt at all.
But the family didn't know that. Okay, yeah.
Family didn't know.
Not until after. Okay.
So, basically, the psychic just didn't help at all, and that was the point of it. It is that I found out through the primary sources, because that's what you always have to do. Primary sources, that she did not help. She did not lead them to the missing person. She did not find them. The missing person was found by a neighbor that called in a tip to police. So then somebody in the town noticed that an abandoned trailer had a light on. They knew it was abandoned. They knew the family. They knew nobody was supposed to be in it. It was just left. But there was a light on. So they called the police, said somebody's in the trailer.
Like a camping trailer?
Yeah. So the police showed up, found the teen. So no psychic help, no psychic powers solved this case at all. Yet this psychic was using this alleged testimonial. And I say alleged because I don't think I actually addressed it in the article because it was starting to get long. But after I commented on the social media post saying that I was going to look into it.
Which seems to be gone, by the way, your comment.
It was gone. It was deleted.
Yeah, I saw, I
thread
looked
was
at the
deleted.
Facebook post and there's like 2 comments on there now. And they're saying positive
It was
things.
reposted. It was actually reposted a few minutes later with a different version of the testimonial.
Oh.
And I was like, well, son of a bitch, she changed it. Now I'm wondering if there was actually a grandmother that wrote this. Like, I don't believe that now.
Yeah.
There's no validity to that, or I think they made it up themselves to make it look good. And then they posted again the picture of the meme, and yeah, my comments were all gone. And I thought briefly like, oh, hey, thanks for taking down my comment. What are you afraid of? But then I was like, I don't feel like wasting an hour arguing back and forth with these people. They're just going to block me. The psychic did block me on social media, so I couldn't actually reach out to her and talk to her. But the second
she might
part,
not have even contacted a grandmother. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, I don't know.
We don't know.
That's
and you're not
doubtful.
going to go call up the grandma.
No.
But I mean,
that's the family. I mean, I could get into it and find it and dig deeper, but then it's not worth it.
Served your purpose.
The detective told me everything I needed to know. He pretty much flat out falsified her claims and said, nope, she didn't do any of that. So I'm satisfied.
You're very fortunate that the detective was helpful.
Yeah. I mean, they don't have to be. He didn't have to call me. So I appreciate that he was. And then there was another part. I don't know if you want to get into that.
Yeah. Go ahead and mention that.
The other part, which really bothered me, is that I started looking into the background of this psychic, and she did get a degree. I want to make that clear from the start. She did get a PhD eventually.
Oh, she did? In what?
She did. Human
psychology.
Human something. Oh, yeah. So it's in there. Oh, wow. You got it up here.
Doctor of Divinity equals a bishop, or what?
So
Here's yours, Doctor.
That's mine.
Oh, she did receive her doctorate in
There you
human
go.
services from Capella University.
There you go.
Do
All
you know
right.
if that's a real place?
That
Capella
is it's an
University?
online university. It is a real accredited university. So I didn't have any problem with that. It's the in-between time because apparently she had to drop out of the program for a family emergency, which I'm not going to knock. I'm not going to dwell on that because things happen. I know life gets in the way. I get it. When she went back to try to finish, there was some kind of mix up where her loans had all been spent and she couldn't finish school, which I don't understand. I don't know why this couldn't be fixed or the mistake, if it was on the part of the college, why didn't they fix it? I don't know. Didn't feel like getting into it because again, the article was running long. Anyway, but on her own website, she states that she went to her psychic work and decided that since she couldn't get her doctor title legitimately, she would just get it this way because God wanted this to happen a different way. So she signed up for a Doctor of Divinity from the Universal Life Church. Which when you read through
Out
the
of all
article,
the diploma mills in the world,
yes.
I mean, people know Universal Life Church, I think.
Yeah, I think pretty much everyone knows that's the easiest way to get to be an ordained minister. It takes almost like 5 seconds, maybe. I mean, 10 if you type slow. So once you're an ordained minister, then there's nothing stopping you from becoming a getting a doctor of divinity, which is an honorary title. So it's not something you get through academics. It's usually a organization, a university or like a religious organization recognizes work that you've done over time, not just something like one-time thing, but you've dedicated a lot of time and work and you've volunteered, whatever, and they want to acknowledge that and they award you a Doctor of Divinity. But with the Universal Life Church, all you have to do is shell out $20, make sure your name is spelled correctly, and click buy. And once you do that, it's sent to your house and you have it. And mine is currently, you saw the picture when you shared the article. Mine's actually currently in the window to my office. And it was so popular that Eric next door also became a doctor. The same thing. So his is in his window too. But yeah, I mean, I think the article says like for 7 years, she used this title. I think that's what I
Oh my
have.
gosh. Remember what I was saying before. Once you find out that the person that you're dealing with is a liar, you do not have to listen to anything else they ever say. Right. And I mean,
it's hard. Yeah. From June,
even though she's got a PhD afterwards, a real supposedly legitimate from an online thing. That means it's just like your whole credibility's gone, unless you were to come back and I guess address what you did and admit it and say you're, apologize, maybe then, but
it's
I hope she runs for office someday.
I hope so.
You're going to be able to, somebody's going to find your article and go,
I mean, it's really bad. And I see this a lot among the paranormal community. I see people do their LinkedIn pages and they have Dr. Divinity or ordained minister. They have this up there as like a legitimate credential, and it's not. It's pure bullshit. And it's just hilarious. I'm glad I got this for myself because now I'm going to add it to the rest of my ordinations because I have like 6 or 7 ordinations from.
Oh my gosh! I didn't realize you had so many letters after your name these days.
I'm holy as shit.
Dr. Biddle.
Yes, Dr. Biddle.
I didn't realize I was speaking to a Dr. Biddle.
And it's ridiculous to me. Like when people come up, and I've dealt with it before, where someone introduces themselves and they use the term doctor, and I'm used to it. I mean, that my first instinct is, oh, doctor of what? And oh, Doctor of Divinity. Oh, like really? Where did you get that from? Did you get that universal? Yeah.
I think I have a doctor of. I think mine might have. No, they don't expire, right? I got mine from Brian Dunning's organization. I have a doctorate in parapsychology.
Oh,
And
Okay.
I got
I
a
have
Thunderwood, I think it's
Underwood. Yes.
yeah, Thunderwood. It's somewhere. I have it on my Facebook page, and I've had people say, "How did you get your doctorate in parapsychology?" And I'm like, "Well, I filled out a form, and I got the doctorate."
I did an article on diploma mill diplomas
Mhm.
because of something like that. There was a ghost hunter on TV that kept saying on the lower thirds of his screen, it would come up parapsychologist. And I kept questioning it until I reached out to him. I said, where did you get this degree? Um, and he explained, oh, I didn't go to school or formal training. I just studied the paranormal, and I consider myself just as good as anyone else. And he was really arrogant about it. I really hated talking to him, to be honest. But I've seen this a bunch of times. I'm going to an event in the next couple of weeks where there's someone that labels themselves a parapsychologist, but they're not. Um, just as much as I'm a plumber or a pilot, because I'm not. Just because I flew in a plane doesn't mean I'm a pilot. And that's the mentality that I see here with the Doctor of Divinity from Universal Life Church and these other parapsychology. I have a parapsychology diploma from what is the Center of Excellence in the UK. And I took a course. I took a class and I wrote an article about it, but I paid, I think, like $50 or something like that. And it was supposed to be 120 hours of coursework. And I did it in I did it in like 2.5 happy hours.
Oh,
Because I was on a work trip, and during happy hour I sat in the bar with my laptop and I skipped all the material and just went straight to the testing. And I tested, I had a 99.9 percentile. um I didn't write something like enough of a survey or something, and they took a point off, but I
well,
got
then you
honors.
deserve that degree.
I know.
You must have deserved it because you didn't have to do the coursework. You went right to the quiz.
I went right to the test and said, all right, let me see if I can do this. And, slightly intoxicated. Boom, passed. So I got my parapsychology and religious titles here.
So
I'm
how does
set.
this other woman fit in this? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm trying to keep us on track. The
Which,
other woman,
which other woman?
you said there was two women.
Oh, so the one was just
So the psychic
the,
is the one that's got the
the psychic is the
PhD.
one, and then the other one is a business partner.
And how is she connected to this?
She's the one that posted this thing on social media,
Okay.
and the one that told me that she wouldn't give me any information about the case.
And that's Jennifer Lee.
Yes. Yeah.
And she's not got a doctorate. She's just some lady.
No, she is a partner. Like the two of them are partners in this marketing whatever thing, and they promote the psychic as something to go to conferences, and you should have out to your paranormal conference for readings and all this stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to understand. What was her motivation for doing this? Because did you just catch them at the very beginning of the scam of theirs? This is like the first thing they've done, so this is the beginning.
She has done conferences. I know she's been out, and she said she sets up a booth and does readings or does private readings. You can go to her website and sign up for a reading. Yeah, for the psychic.
Mary Barrett.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can she's an actual somebody who says she's a medium.
Yes.
And this was going to be the beginning of her career in the psychic detective world.
I don't know. I honestly don't know how long she's been doing it. At least since, so she, what was the, let me see, missing team. Let me look it up to make sure. So ordained minister, 2015 is when she didn't, I guess when she got her Doctor of Divinity. So at least from there, maybe a year or two back, she was doing some psychic work. I'm going to send you the link to her website so you can see it. It was referenced in the article, but I'll send it to you.
Okay. For people
so you can look it up. Oh, wait, there is that it? That's it. I gotta make sure. Some of these I can't see. I'm not allowed to see. So do we have a chat? Yeah, we do have a chat. Can I put
Yeah,
it in the chat room?
put it in the chat and I'll go ahead and put it on the video.
Okay, there you go. All right, so I just sent it to you. Let's see, events. Like she has a bunch of events coming up. The Haunting at the Mill Paracon.
She's in
Uh,
Oklahoma.
I don't know. I think she's in Kentucky.
Okay,
I think.
let me share this so that people can see what I'm looking at. I also put the link in the description of the video. So let's see what it says here. Wow, that's a nice looking.
It
That's a
is
nice looking
nice.
website.
It's pretty
Wow,
slick.
she spent some money on that.
Yeah.
That is nice. What is this little? Oh, nothing in my shopping cart.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a shopping cart. Yeah.
So these are the other people on here who wasn't
So
Jennifer. That's not the same one, is
Jennifer,
it?
that's Jennifer Lee's, I
Oh,
think. Yeah, there you go. So that's the other girl.
she's
That's
doing.
the other
She's
partner.
the Jennifer Lee on Facebook. I'm co-owner of Raven Paranormal Events
Yes.
and Dr. Mary Barrett LLC.
Yep.
Wait a second. I'm co-owner of Raven Paranormal Events and Dr. Mary Barrett LLC.
LLC.
So
Yeah.
that's the name of her organization is Dr. Barrett or LLC.
Yep.
Okay, so this is somebody she's promoting as Raven Paranormal Events who will do ghost hunting.
So yeah, if you go up
Oh,
under the tab events tab, you'll see like
okay.
a whole bunch of events that she's going to be at.
I understand. Oh,
There you go.
wow.
Yeah.
You've got little aliens on here and everything, so you know it's real. Oh, and there's a Bigfoot, I think, or something. Yeah, Paranormal Museum of Cryptozoology, Paranormal Museum, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia. Oh, a master hypnotist and a psychic medium.
Yeah, she's got a lot. There
Pennsylvania.
was so much to get into
Gee, look
that
at
I
all
just
this.
didn't want to.
So, wow, man, it makes me look like I'm sitting still. Look at all those events. That's really sad because
So if you go under, well, all right, so it's gone. But if you go under like her name at the top, there'll be a drop down menu, and you can go to ordained minister, and it explains why she got that, and because she couldn't get her real doctor title, that she went this route. And I mean, for me, I was like, I can't believe you wrote that. Like you wrote that for people to read. Like, and this goes back to the beginning of our conversation about how some of these people don't get challenged. They're not used to being challenged. So there was no fear in putting something, to be honest, was ridiculous to write. You don't write that. Like, oh, I didn't get the doctor title the way I wanted it, so I just went this way. You don't write that out there so everyone can read it.
well, apparently she does.
Well,
And a
apparently,
lot of people, like you said, they do not expect to be challenged. So what has been the repercussions? Has there anything have you heard from anybody? I know this article has only been out a very short amount of time, but have you heard from anybody? I mean,
so I haven't heard from either of the people involved, the psychic or her business partner. I have heard from other people. I've actually gotten a bunch of emails from people loving it and thanking me for putting this out there, which is nice. That's real nice because I don't get good feedback often. I usually get the bad kind, and that still lets me know I'm doing a good job. But yeah, it's been positive so far, even from people in the paranormal community, and funny enough, other psychics have said good job with this, which
but don't investigate me.
sometimes I think it is like that, like, oh, good job, like I think you're great, I love what you're doing, just don't look at me.
Yeah, that's what happened with that medium who we started out the conversation about.
Yes.
She was like,
Yes.
I can't stand Thomas John. He's doing this. Some people are fakers, but not me.
And that's the wrong thing to say. And that's what she did in her video, the video that
Or you're
really
talking about the
prompted
medium
this,
that, yeah.
the medium that you've been talking to, that she, in her video, she criticizes, I think 3 other psychics that had written books, and one of them happens to be Mark, which was funny because as soon as I saw, like, I didn't see the full book. I saw like the tip came up like this, and I was like, oh, I knew that book. I have that on my shelf. Oh, now I'm really paying attention.
Yeah, we were really paying attention. She doesn't, yeah.
But
so
after criticizing other people, she immediately followed it up with, I know what I do is real.
What I do is real. I know what cold reading is, and I'm not
Right.
doing it.
And I was like, well, wait a minute. Now you set it off. Now everyone, and I saw the list of people that you tagged in that video. And I'm like, I know all of these people are going to comment on this. They're going to pick this out. And this is what we're going to, zero in on. And we did. Like, show us. Let's see why you think it.
Yeah.
What proof do you have that this is real, that what you do is real?
And it is really sad too, Kenny, because I asked her for a good, the psychic medium we're talking about, she put out a video. She puts out several videos, but she put out a video of a reading, and she said this is one of her good ones. And I asked her on Facebook, how good is this? Is this your best? She says, it's nearly my best. My best are private, but this is like the best reading I've got that is not private that I've done. And I'm like, all right, so I'm going to break this down. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to go into detail, and you're going to be okay with that, right? Even though you might think that I'm being critical, or I'm being,
dismissive.
It's okay. I'm letting you know I'm going to evaluate this. She says, critique, go ahead, critique. And it's been a day and I haven't heard from her, and I usually hear from her all the time. But I have 5 pages of notes, 5.5 pages of notes. And I write, I like to write, but I went through detail back and forth, back and forth. It's a 30-minute reading. It probably took me 3 hours.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. I found it probably will be a Skeptical Inquirer article or a video or something in the future, but I found it fascinating that this woman believes she's genuine and she knows what cold reading is, but she's cold reading through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think she understands that she's cold reading.
Is this the one? Is it the sitter, a guy?
Yeah.
Okay. I
His
think I
name is
know.
Milan or something like that.
All right. I think I started watching that, and because it's on her website.
I watched it, so you don't have to.
Yeah, like as soon as they started, I was like, "This is a cold reading. This is a cold reading." Yeah.
And the sitter is a motivated listener.
Yes.
Which that's just something new I've come up with since I've started this channel and really started looking at videos and readings. It's a type of person who, well, he's paid, right? So he's wants his reading. Yeah. He's paid. He's had lots of readings, he said, and he's a medium himself, I think, or he's a spiritual something. I don't know. He's into that. So when she would say something, and he would say, "Oh, that makes total sense," and then he would explain it, and it was nothing like what she said. So it was. I think I've got 3 or 4 cases of that happening where and she goes, yes, like as if she was agreeing with them. And I'm thinking, something wrong with me? Let me replay that, because how did I miss that? Because it was nothing like she said. And he just assumed it was about whatever he was in his mind. It's motivated listening. He heard what he wanted to hear. And
that's funny.
It was really incredible. I mean, it's a great video that I've downloaded. In case it goes away. It was a great video. Sorry. My nature as a skeptic,
so alike.
It's it's and all the screenshots of all the conversations.
Yes.
But it's an interesting way that even the mediums are fooling themselves.
Yeah.
Some mediums think that they're really doing readings, and either they don't understand what that means, or they're just fooling themselves, or they're outright lying.
I think there's definitely a mix, and it really depends on who you're talking to. I think there's quite a few that do know that they're bullshitting people, and they're just running
hot readers. You cannot be a hot reader. Information. You can't look it up on the internet and say that you didn't know.
Yeah. I think others are, and I think this person that we're talking about, I think she falls into this category where she's been reassured over the years from family and friends so much that it's become her personal nature. Like she just doesn't, there's no doubt. And she's been convinced over time that she can do this. And the method that she uses, which is cold reading, like flat out cold reading, she doesn't see it as cold reading because she thinks differently. She's so convinced that she's getting some information because sometimes she says something and it's kind of right and then ignores the kind of wrong that also happens.
Right.
But in her head, it's all justified.
Who knows what's happening in her head? She may really be hearing something.
Maybe, but
I don't know.
Whatever voice there is just not accurate.
Well, so it's a lot of it's just wordplay.
Yeah.
And I could see herself convincing herself that what she heard or whatever, because again, when you're listening to one of these videos, it's a lot of times it's emotional. It's happening very fast. When you're in a reading situation and you don't have time to sit down and take notes and really, really evaluate what's happening. And I think maybe in the medium's way too, that's like how do you say it? Like you're into a jazz, you're just into it. You're not writing down the notes as you go. You're just going with it. And it just feels like it's just flowing and it's natural. And it's very likely that might be what it is. It's not right, but,
it becomes more of a conversation between the two people. And at the end, the psychic is claiming that they gave information.
Yeah.
Where it was the sitter that gave information or corrected them. And then we gloss over the correction part and just say, oh yeah, that's what I said.
Right.
Or that's what I meant.
Yeah. And it's hilarious because I took 5.5 pages of notes. And as I'm writing now, like I try to transcribe. But your hand's tired after a while and you're doing this because I was really writing it down because I like pencil and paper. But as I was writing, I could see myself. No, I'm not fooling you. I saw myself summing it up on paper, like I'd say, and she was saying, and I'm thinking, wait a second, that's not what it was.
Right.
I could see myself changing a little bit, and I had to go back and erase a few things. And I said, I'm summing up what I think that's going on or what I think they're saying when there's no summing up that should be done in here. We need to get this down exactly.
Yeah.
And this is what was said, exactly how it was said. And maybe I knew what was going to happen in the next couple sentences. So I was trying to add that in, but you can't. You have to have it exactly how it's coming out. Yeah. And we've been talking about this whole time. I don't think anybody does this kind of stuff except maybe like 10 people in the world.
Yeah.
And you and I are 2 of them.
That's you hit it.
And nobody's used to having this kind of thing done to them. They haven't done it to themselves. They have not looked at a video they've done. Like I will watch a video I've done like this one, and I will look to make sure, is the lighting right? Am I saying things wrong? What is it I'm doing wrong? To try to improve your speaking. When I do a lecture, the same kind of thing. But I don't think they go back and they really look at it again and see it as how they manipulated their words, how they fooled around with it.
Right.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I do the same. I mean, I sit here and I'll listen to a audio track or a video, and I will back every 10 seconds. I will listen to every 10 seconds, probably like 6 or 7 times, just typing it out exactly how they said it.
Mm-hmm. With the ums and ahs. Oh my gosh.
Yep, all that in there because I want to be able to say this person said this, and that's why I researched it this way, or that's why I'm going in this direction. Mm-hmm. I don't want them to come back later and say, well, I didn't say that word. I didn't say it that way. I said it a different way. And if you don't have it transcribed exactly and saved, like what we do, then it's just he said, she said kind of thing, and you don't know. So yeah, that's so meticulous. And you're right. Not many people do this. We won't.
It's time consuming. It's excruciatingly painful.
It's time consuming.
The words in your head. I swear I dream.
Yeah.
With the sound of some of these people's voices.
Yeah.
It's awful. Well, anyway,
But-
Kenny, we should be getting going because I don't want to hold up you for days. And I will talk.
It's okay. I could stay here forever.
Oh, we
can
will
just
talk. We will
shop
talk again.
all day.
I
Yes.
promise. And anybody
talk
out there
again.
who's watching this, make sure you check out Kenny Biddle. He has got some of the most amazing content. You'll find him on Skeptical Inquirer. You can look and you can sort it by authors, Skeptical Inquirer magazine or skepticalinquirer.org. You can
Yeah.
find his channel. He's got videos up on his own channel. I am Kenny Biddle.
Yes.
And also on TikTok, as well as Center for Inquiry's YouTube channel.
Yes.
You're all over the place. Kenny Biddle.
Everywhere.
I mean, we've done interviews. He's been interviewed. He's just getting started in this job, but you've actually been doing this for 20 years, 15
Yeah.
years, something like that.
Yeah.
But you're starting at CFI, even though you've been associated with CFI for a long time. You've been publishing there and so on.
Yep.
But all right, everybody,
Got it
please
all.
subscribe to my channel too.
Yes.
Because I would like that. I would really appreciate it. And if you have questions, put them in the chat under the video and we'll be happy to answer them. And if you don't want to reach out to Kenny for some strange reason, I don't know why, but or maybe you don't want to be brought to his attention. Oh, you know, you don't want to be brought to his attention. So if you're a medium out there and you go, oh, you're a medium too? Well, let me check out your channel. Let me look at that. But you have questions.
Yes.
Please, and you don't want me to tell Kenny who you are. I can do that. Reach out to me privately. All right. Well, thank you, Kenny.
You're
Say hello to
welcome.
Don.